Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Andrea Speaks TV. I am your host, Andrea, and I'm bringing you commentary you can use. So, this is episode 41. This is episode 41. And I want to come to you all and talk about a very unfortunate, very devastating event that occurred on the morning of today, which is August 14th, 2021. And I've been out and about, all day with my family, spending time with my family day. And I wasn't really, checking the internet, wasn't really on my phone. I did upload a video previously this afternoon when my family and I were in the bookstore. And I started seeing people were saying, pray for Haiti on the internet. So I quickly did some research and I found out that there was an earthquake today in the country of Haiti. So I did some research and I put together a presentation, some pictures, to show you all everything. So, that you all can get a good picture of what exactly is going on in the country of Haiti. So my research comes from the New York Times, and so I want to come on and talk to you all about that today. Before we begin, I do want to say that my thoughts and my prayers go out to the people of the country of Haiti, any surrounding countries or areas that were also affected or impacted by today's earthquake. So again, I'm coming to you all live. We are live now, whether you're watching live on Facebook. We are on Facebook, Andrea Speaks TV Facebook page, or if you're watching live here on YouTube, I want to say thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everything that you all do to support the channel, whether liking the videos, sharing the videos with family members or friends, and also your comments. I do like to interact with supporters, and so I do go back and I read your comments. So again, I want to come on and talk about the earthquake in Haiti, and this is episode 41, presented by Andrea Speaks TV. All right. All right, so on the screen, I have a picture. Everyone may not know exactly where the country of Haiti is located. And so on the screen, you will see a picture, and it has Haiti. It also has the Dominican Republic. And if you look to the left, okay, you'll see the red dot in the two circles around it. That is the epicenter. Okay, so in the caption of the picture, it says the USGS said it was a magnitude 7.2 quake, okay, which was more powerful than the 7.0 quake that hit Haiti in 2010, which nearly 250,000 people, the article is saying, lost their life. Okay, hello to everyone who is tuned in. Thank you all so much. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all so much for your support. I'm coming on to talk to you all about the devastating earthquake that occurred today in Haiti. Okay, and again, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of the country of Haiti, all the surrounding, excuse me. Let me get some lemonade, y'all. Hold on. Sorry about that. Again, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Haiti and all of the surrounding areas that may have been impacted by the earthquake as well. Okay. So again, my research does come from the New York Times. My research, the information that I'm sharing, the article that I'm reading, as well as the pictures that I am sharing. They were posted by the New York Times. And so the information that I'm sharing is for educational purposes. And so I want to come not only read to you exactly what the article is saying happened, but I also want to give you a visual of what is going on. Okay. All right. So according to my research here in the New York Times, the article says that the magnitude 7.2 quake severely damaged several cities. A lot of people were trapped and buried in the rubble of collapsed buildings. And as I just shared, and I'm going to give you all some more information on this, the article says it is being said, it's being reported that the earthquake that happened today in Haiti is more powerful than the 2010 earthquake, where more than 220,000 people, the article says, lost their life. Okay. Now, the earthquake did happen this morning, Saturday morning, August 14th, 2021. And it was a devastating blow to an already impoverished country, the article is saying, reeling from the devastating incident that happened with their president, which was last month, if I'm not mistaken. And they are still recovering from a disastrous quake more than 11 years ago. Now, it's being reported that the quake overwhelmed hospitals, flattened buildings, and trapped people under rubble in at least two cities in the western part of the country's southern peninsula. All right. At least 304 people at the time of this article. It does say that at least 304 people did not make it, and more than 1,800 people were injured, and that is according to the Director General of the Civil Protection Agency. All right, and an untold number of people have been, are missing. Okay. Now, the disaster could hardly come. The article says that the disaster could hardly have come at a worse time for the nation of 11 million, which has been in the throes of a political crisis since the incident happened where their president lost his life, and that was back in on July 7th. Okay. Now, so along with what happened with the president, now you add on what the article says is a leadership vacuum, severe poverty, and systematic gang violence in parts of Haiti have left the government dysfunctional and ill prepared for this current national calamity. Okay, so basically what this article is sharing, hello to everyone who's tuned in, whether you're watching live or if you're watching by the replay, please say hello. Let me know that you're tuned in. And I want to say thank you all so much for your support. So what the article is saying is that, the country is already still dealing with the fact that their president is no longer here, and the incident that happened with that. Then on top of that, the article is saying that, there's severe poverty. The article is claiming that there's systematic gang violence. Now you have this national, this natural disaster that has occurred. All of these things, it just seems like the people of Haiti, so basically what I get from it is, based on what the article is saying, that the country of Haiti was already going through so many different things that now all of a sudden that this earthquake has occurred, it just kind of really makes the situation worse than, even worse. So I want to continue. Now, the article says much of the initial information about the quake came via social media. Okay, you all know that we live in the age of social media now. And so a lot of times, soon as something happens, where do people go? They go to social media websites. So much of the initial information about the quake came via social media postings and phone because of the security dangers in traveling to the affected area. All right, which is at least 4 hours away by road from Port-au-Prince, which is the capital of Haiti. Now, the United States Geological Survey, and that's what I was sharing also here on the screen, said the quake struck 5 miles, y'all, from the one of the towns, I hope I'm saying this right, y'all, Petit Traudenix, in the western part of the country. Forgive me if I said it wrong. I apologize. Which is in the western part of the country, about 80 miles west of Port-au-Prince. And let's see, seismologists said it had a depth of 7 miles, and was felt as far away as 200 miles in Jamaica. All right. I'm going to keep going, y'all. Okay. Make sure you If you are just tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome. I'm Andrea from Andrea Speaks TV. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you will be connected, is whenever I upload new content, okay? All right, the USGS said it was a magnitude 7.2 quake, which was more powerful than the 7.0 quake that hit Haiti in 2010, which killed nearly a quarter million people. So nearly a quarter million people lost their life in that earthquake, okay? Now, the Biden administration, the United Nations, and private relief agencies that operate in Haiti promised urgent help. And I'll also give you some more information on that as well, okay? Now, phone lines were down, okay? So it's being reported that phone lines were down. And so for many people who may be in Haiti, the only way that they may be able to communicate what's going on and try to find out information is via the social media, okay? Doctors also said that two main hospitals in Les Cayes, I believe, I don't know if that's how to say it, but again, I apologize if I may have said it wrong, and the main hospital in Jeremy were also overwhelmed, okay? Many houses fell. Many people were trapped under the rubble. Now, videos did emerge. The article says videos emerged of people still in their pajamas or bath towels out in the street seeking refuge from their violently trembling homes. Now, entire three-story buildings were flattened to eye level. Another video showed a group of men sifting through rubble and trying to remove debris to extract someone who was stuck underneath. All right. Let's see. It was also reported that the hospital was in need of most basic supplies, surgical gloves, intravenous needles. It was also said that one of the doctors may possibly have been the only surgeon there, because a lot of the doctors returned to Haiti's capital for the weekend. Okay, so imagine that, y'all. Imagine how devastating just that fact alone, could be, that all of this is going on, and it's possibly only one doctor in the area. Think about that, y'all. All right. Also, it was said that a building housing medical students, hospital interns, and two doctors had collapsed, trapping those who were most needed to provide aid. All right. So I'm going to go, again, I'm showing you all pictures. Now let's talk about an earthquake, okay? I don't want to assume that everyone knows what an earthquake is or what causes an earthquake. So this information comes from the California Academy of Sciences. And this picture is titled Anatomy of an Earthquake. Now, right underneath the heading, it says an earthquake is the shaking of the ground caused by sudden motions along faults or fractures in the Earth's crust. All right. Now, a fault is a fracture in the rocks that are, a fault is a fracture in the rocks that make up the Earth's crust. Okay. You can kind of see that line in the center. All right. The epicenter is the point. You all heard me talk about the epicenter. The epicenter is the point at the surface of the Earth directly above the focus. Okay, you can see the line there. Everything that I'm, let me go back, y'all. Okay, so the words that I'm going over now, you can see in the diagram that it's actually pointing to where it will be located. Okay, the focus or hypocenter is the point within the Earth where an earthquake rupture starts. All right. Plates are massive rocks. Plates are massive rocks that make up the outer layer of the Earth's surface and whose movement along faults triggers earthquakes. All right, you can see the plates there. And seismic waves are waves that transmit the energy that is released by an earthquake. Okay, so I just want to give you some background information on earthquakes. All right, so let's continue, y'all. All right, now again, I'm getting my information from the New York Times for educational purposes. And so I'll go back and pin a link to the actual article so you all can go and read it as well. But there is a video within the article, and the video is titled "Hundreds Lost Their Life After Magnitude 7.2 Earthquake Hits Haiti." Okay, it says the powerful quake leveled buildings. More than 300 people lost their life, that have been accounted for that lost their life, and overwhelming hospitals in at least 2 Haitian cities. Okay. All right. So let me continue reading. Now, the latest Haiti earthquake which happened today, was more powerful than the devastating quake in 2010. So let me give you some information on that. The earthquake that struck Haiti on Saturday morning occurred on the same system. Now listen to this, y'all, okay? Hold on just a moment. Let me keep going. Okay, all right. So here you see on the screen, I have a picture. And the picture says that the latest Haiti earthquake was more powerful than the devastating quake in 2010. Now the caption says that a satellite image, this is a picture of a satellite image showing let's see, Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault Zone in Haiti in 2010. So this is what it looked like in 2010, y'all. And so what they're saying is that the one that just happened this morning, Saturday morning, was more powerful than the one in 2010. Okay. All right. So the article says that the earthquake that struck Haiti on Saturday morning occurred on the same system of faults as the one that devastated the capital, Port-au-Prince, in January 2010. And the previous quake almost certainly made this one more likely to occur. Okay. Think about that, y'all. Now, the article says both quakes struck on an east-west fault line at the convergence of 2 tectonic plates, which are large segments of the Earth's crust that slowly move in relationship to each other. All right. At the fault line that you see here in the picture, the Caribbean plate and the North American plate move laterally or side by side at a rate of about 1/4 of an inch a year. Now, the 2010 quake was centered about 30 miles west of Port-au-Prince. The quake on Saturday which is today, was about 50 miles further west. All right. Now, a seismologist with the United States Geological Survey, who actually studied the 2010 earthquake, said there was no doubt that it and the one Saturday were linked. Okay, think about that, y'all. Okay, one who is tuned in, watching, thank you all so much for your support. All right. So basically, they're saying that they studied, from this is what I get from what was said. Okay, they studied the earthquake that happened in 2010. There were some concerns about it. They realized that there was some connection between the earthquake in 2010 and the one that happened today. And it seemed like they almost, certainly think that, the one from 2010 would eventually cause more earthquakes to happen sometime in the future. And it just so happened that it came and happened today. All right. But let me keep reading. Pay attention to this, y'all. Okay. Now, according to the seismologist, she was quoted saying it's well established that you do have this domino concept. Okay. She said, where the energy released by one earthquake alters the stress patterns elsewhere along the fault line. But she was quoted as saying, we don't have a crystal ball that tells us which domino is going to fall next. All right. Now, she also said that seismologists had been concerned. Okay. They had been concerned. They were already looking at this particular area. She also said that seismologists had been concerned about a region of the fault zone to the east, closer to the 2010 rupture site. Okay. And she was quoted saying, now we've seen the segment to the west rupture. All right. To give you some more information, let's see. The article does go on to say that at a magnitude of 7.2, Saturday's quake released about twice as much energy as the one in 2010, which had a magnitude again of 7.0. Damage and casualties from quakes depend on many factors besides magnitude. This is also very important to note. It says the depth and the location of the rupture, the time it occurred, and the quality of construction all can play major roles. Now, in the 2010 earthquake, just to give you some background information, in the 2010 earthquake, the article says that shoddy construction, okay, not the best, construction, especially poorly built masonry buildings, were blamed for many of the losses of life as well as injuries. All right. Now, the fault zone extends west to Jamaica, which is also at risk of major earthquakes. Okay. So they're saying that the country of Jamaica is also at risk of major earthquakes. Now, in addition to the 2010 quake, the fault zone was most likely the source of four major earthquakes, y'all, in the 18th and 19th centuries, including ones that leveled Port-au-Prince in 1751 and again in 1770. So it seems like that particular area that you see on the screen, it seems like, it has a pattern or a history of earthquakes in the area. Okay. Now, so I told you all, I shared previously, what some things that the article says that Haiti was already going through. Haiti is still to this day, according to the article and the research, Haiti still to this day is dealing with the loss of their president, which occurred last month, July 7th, along with what the article is as gang violence happening throughout the country, as well as other areas of including severe poverty, what they call as severe poverty. But the article also mentions that Haiti actually lies in the possible path of what is being referred to as Tropical Storm Grace. Okay, so this is something also that I'm just learning about, that there is another tropical storm that has formed actually in the Eastern Caribbean. Saturday morning, the article is saying. So let me go ahead and share some information. Now, the article says, as Haiti reeled from a devastating earthquake on Saturday, the threat of another natural disaster loomed over the island. Tropical Storm Grace, the article says, which formed in the Eastern Caribbean the same morning, was on a path toward Haiti, according to the National Hurricane Center. Okay. The storm was projected to pass, the article says, over or near Haiti on Monday, the center said in an update on Saturday afternoon, adding that people on the island should monitor the path of grace and that tropical storm warnings for Haiti and other nearby islands could be required later on Saturday or on Sunday. Okay. All right. So let me go to a different picture. All right. Now, this is a church, the Sacred Heart Church in Les Cayes, that was damaged in an earthquake on Saturday. Okay. All right, let me continue reading. Now, the storm, this tropical storm Grace, the storm was projected to pass over or near Haiti on Monday, the center said in an update on Saturday afternoon, adding that people on the island should monitor the path of grace and that tropical storm warnings, I just read this, y'all, I'm sorry, for Haiti and other nearby islands could be required later on Saturday or Sunday, y'all. So again, this just happened today, and on the same day, the article is saying that Haiti is now in the path of tropical storm Grace. Okay, but over Haiti, it says the storm could dump 4 to 7 inches of rain, 4 to 7 inches of rain, with isolated totals of up to 10 inches. The center said, adding that heavy rainfall could lead to flooding and potential mudslides on Monday and into Tuesday. Okay, that's a lot, y'all. Before the center's afternoon update, a hurricane specialist at the center said the earthquake could increase chances of mudslides. Now, it was said and quoted that it could have shifted some of the ground and soil, which could make mudslides more common. Okay. A spokesperson for the center did say that the storm was not expected to make landfall in Haiti, which means the center of the storm wouldn't cross over the island itself. All right. However, he was quoted as saying that rain is centered all around the storm, so the center won't mean a whole lot. All right. Now, Tropical Storm Grace, which is the 7th named storm of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season follows several days of floods and power outages unleashed this week by Fred. This is a lot, y'all. I'm telling you, it's a lot of things. Even if I don't know, sometimes if you all look at world news, but there are different things that happen daily all around the world. And I've been doing some research. I haven't reported on it yet. I'm still putting my information together. But there have been, aside from what happened today in Haiti, there have been natural disasters in China, natural disasters in Germany, all around the world. So, this is a very unfortunate thing that is happening. But let me keep going so I can bring you all some information. Okay. All right. Okay. So the U.S. Tsunami Warning Center reported a tsunami threat because of Saturday's earthquake, but later they took it back. Okay. Aftershocks rippled through the region, including one at a magnitude of 5.1. Okay. You already know, I already reported on the number of people that at the time of this article lost their life. They're saying that 1,800 people have been injured, and several people are, at this time unaccounted for. Okay. Thank you. Someone in the chat said, I appreciate that you research before you share. Yes, flooding in both places. Thank you so much. Not only do I want to share the information, but I want to make sure that I'm sharing accurate information at the same time. So thank you so much. I appreciate your comments and your support. All right, let's see. Okay, the article does continue on, and I'm just highlighting, some of the main things. The article is very long, but I just want to come on and highlight some of the main points that the article is sharing. And then after the video, I'll go back and I'll pin a link to the article in the comments so that you all can go on and take a look at it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Someone from a regional Episcopal church in Haiti, they were welcoming teachers. This is some of the things that were going on prior to this earthquake happened. So it says an archdeacon of a regional Episcopal church in Haiti was welcoming teachers and parents to discuss plans to return to school on Saturday when the earthquake struck. Everyone ran inside looking for an open space free of trees or buildings that could collapse. So these are some of the things, just that were going on. And all of a sudden, the earthquake happens. All right. I was quoted. Someone said that, let's see. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me make sure. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Okay, there was one quote where someone said that people are sitting around waiting for word, and there is no word. All right, people are sitting around waiting for word. There's no word. No word from their family. No word on who will help them. All right. When such a catastrophe happens, people wait for word on some sort of confidence from the state, but there's nothing, no help. Now, I thought that, just hearing that, the people are, you can imagine that people are scared. People are not only, the ones who are, there and searching for their family members, they're thankful that, they survived, but at the same time, they're worried, thinking about whether it's their family members, their friends, their co-workers, people in the community that they know, church members. And, it's already, I've already shared with you that they said that the phone lines were down. The people who do have access to their phone or internet, they're able to get on social media and share information. But for the most part, let me read this to y'all again. Just think about it. How do you feel hearing this? How do you feel hearing this? Again, this is a quote from, let me make sure I have this correct, y'all. I believe this is from the archdeacon of the regional Episcopal church in Haiti. Okay. Yes, because he said he also walked from the school to the town center and saw only a handful of houses that did not have damage. Okay. All right. So he was quoted as saying that people, again, I'm going to read this quote to you. Think about how you feel hearing this. Okay. I know a lot of times when things happen, if we're not prepared, a lot of times, what do? We expect and we wait around for help, whether it's government help, help from outside, outside other countries is what I'm saying, whether it's help from my own government, help from other agencies, help from around the world. But listen to what the archdeacon shared here. He said, people are sitting around waiting for word, and there is no word. No word from their family, so they're not able to hear from their family, communicate with their family. No word on who will help them. No word. It's just no word at all. People are just sitting around waiting, trying to do the best they can. Okay. Now, he also said when such a catastrophe happens, people wait for word or some sort of confidence from the state. Okay. Meaning that they're waiting, relying on their government, but there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no help. Okay. Um, the same archdeacon said that he planned for a joyous day to discuss pandemic reopenings, but of course that was all derailed by the earthquake that occurred. Okay. He was also quoted saying today was supposed to be a day of hope, a day of meetings with teachers and students to plan for returning to school. But then, as I'm reporting, the earthquake occurred. All right. Now, in Jeremy, another area hit hard by the quake, the collapse of an old cathedral, which the article says is a Haitian landmark, was a chilling throwback to 2010. Again, going back to the devastating earthquake that occurred in 2010, when a cathedral in Port-au-Prince, the capital, was destroyed during an earthquake that has scarred the nation since. Now, the cathedral, which has yet to be restored, is a symbol of the many devastations the country has faced and of the government's inability to help its own population. Now, let me go back and say this again, y'all. Y'all didn't hear me, okay? I want you to think about, now, a lot of people can say, okay, Andrea, well, Haiti, the country of Haiti is much different than the country of than the United States in terms of, maybe political structure, access to resources, different things like that. But I want you to just hear, I want you to hear what I'm saying, what I'm reading to you. Let me just read it to you all again. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to my place, y'all. Okay, let's see. Now, going back, it's talking about the cathedral that was destroyed in 2010, and to this day in 2021, it hasn't been restored. Okay, now it says the cathedral, which has yet to be restored, is a symbol of the many devastations the country has faced and of the government's inability. All right, the government's inability to help its own population. Now, why do you think that's so? Okay, why do you think that? Why do you think that's being reported? Why do you think that they're saying that the country or the government in that particular country is not able to help its own population? What do you think is the reason behind that? Okay. Another piece of the article shares that the main supermarket collapsed. Listen to this, y'all. Think about this. Okay. The main supermarket collapsed, leaving the population of about 500,000 people with dwindling supplies and worries that eventually there would be looting and fighting over basics like drinking water. Think about that, y'all. I'm gonna read it again. Okay, think about this. The main supermarket, okay, the main supermarket where people go to shop for their fruits, their vegetables, their meats, whatever that they need for their household. The main supermarket, okay, collapsed, leaving the population of about 500,000 people. That's what, y'all, 500,000? So you have 500,000 people that depend on and rely on this main supermarket. And all of a sudden, the earthquake happens, the supermarket is gone, the supermarket collapsed, and now you have 500,000 people. That's 500,000 people, okay? 500,000, okay? 500,000 people, that's 500,000 people with dwindling supplies. Okay, that means that, we got a little stash, but hey, it's decreasing. Okay, and it's not being replenished. Okay, so you have 500,000 people with dwindling supplies. The supplies are running out, and they're worried that eventually there will be looting and fighting over basics like drinking water. All right. Local hospitals are already underfunded Okay, again, think about this, y'all. Listen to what the article is saying. Listen to some of the terms that they're saying. The government, not being able to help its own population. It's saying that the local hospitals are already underfunded. Why do you think that's the case? And the local hospitals, the article says, who are already underfunded. So it sounds like, now I've never been to Haiti, so I haven't seen this firsthand, but based on what I just read, it sounds like that the local hospitals were already struggling, or, they were trying to make it work with whatever resources they had before this earthquake happened. Now the earthquake occurs, they were already overfunded. Now it says they're overwhelmed with the loss of life, the people coming in injured. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? I want to go to the chat now. There were a few comments in the chat. Someone said, why would you tell other people that the government can't help its own country? I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. How is it? What's going on? What's really going on that the government can't even help the people of its own country? What's really behind that? I have a question about that. What's really behind that? And then also it was shared probably a test for what they think will happen here or something similar. And, that's something that I want us to think about here in the United States. That's where I am. And shout out to, I know I found out recently that, there are supporters tuning in from Canada as well as the United Kingdom. So I want to say a shout out to, all of my subscribers, supporters everywhere. I thought that was, pretty cool that Andrea Speaks TV is global. So I really appreciate your support no matter where you're tuning in from. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you all make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this video with family members, friends, people that you know. And also, if you find this information to be helpful, useful, please make sure you hit the like button as well, thumbs up button, okay? But, when I share this information, it's not to scare you or make you fearful of, oh my goodness, is this going to happen here? Where I am, none of us really have the ability to predict the future. But what I'm saying is, think about if something like that were to happen in your area. What are some of the things that you think that you would deal with, or we would have to deal with here in the United States? That's where I am, here in the United States. And also, your local city, your local community. What are some of these things that would, happen? I know a lot of times, you all have heard me talk about food shortages here on the channel. And we know that in several communities across the United States, many people live in what are called food deserts. Food deserts being, I know it has a very specific definition of food desert, but that's pretty much saying that there is no grocery store where you can get fresh fruits, vegetables, things like that within a certain mile radius of, the homes in that area. So, imagine now, in the article, it says that the main supermarket collapsed and over 500,000 people who depend on that supermarket, they were left with the dwindling supplies and worries that there would be looting and fighting over basic drinking water. But think about in your area, if you're in an area where you say, you know what, Andrea, if something happened, I'm straight. I got my food supply here at home, or, I live in the area where there are several grocery stores. That may be the case, but what if you're in an area? What about people who do live in food deserts? If, God forbid, if there was some type of natural disaster and, they didn't have access to the grocery store, or if the grocery store had to shut down, what would those people do? And people could say, okay, Andrea, I know you talk about being prepared, and it's something that now I'm not the person who invented talking about being prepared and the need to have emergency food and supplies. You could say, well, you can have all of that, but you could lose it if, there were an earthquake and, the house collapse and all of the stuff that you would need to survive is buried under the rubble, and that may be true. But, I just think that, we still should have some type of plan, not knowing what's going to happen, but we still should have some type of plan. And that's something that you can do with your own families. You should still have some type of plan, be prepared, because, truth is we don't know what's going to happen. But, if we stay ready, we don't have to get ready. And so, I just think about that. There are food deserts all across the, all across the United States. And, if something were to happen, some type of natural disaster or natural disaster, or some type of state of the emergency event, what are those people going to do if there's a large amount of people who depend on food from the places, and the places are no longer able to meet the needs of the people? That's something to think about. Okay. But I do want to go back to the article. Let me see where I left off. Hold on, y'all. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's see where I left off. Okay, so I was talking about the supermarket. Again, there were major concerns that there would be looting and fighting over basics like drinking water. And let's say even outside of something like, an earthquake, because that could be considered a very extreme case, right? Not all areas. Not saying that earthquakes can't happen in all areas, but we know that just based on history that it seems like there are certain areas where earthquakes are more likely to happen than in other areas. And so we just want to make sure that we be prepared. We don't know, especially with the times that we're living in. And I've talked about this several times before, the need to have emergency food and survival needs. So, make sure you have some sort of plan. Make sure you have, you and your family have some type of plan, and that you are prepared. Okay. But again, the major concerns with the looting and fighting over basics like drinking water. Let's say there was something to happen in your area. If you already have those things, your emergency food supply, your survival needs, then you have that in your home, then you don't have to worry necessarily about going out to the stores and fighting. Sometimes people will be fighting right there in the store, fighting over the last pack of water, or fighting over the last box of gallons of water, things like that. You already have what you need. Okay. And you can take steps to protect your family right there in your home. Okay, you all know what I'm talking about. All right. Let's see. Okay, also the article, going back to the article again, thank you all for your support. The article also says that the magnitude 7.2 earthquake snapped the underground pipes, okay, which also caused flooding in the streets. Okay. There was a doctor, Dr. Joseph, who said she tried to rush over to the clinic, okay, where she works to start helping, but she could not cross the flooded streets and eventually had to return home. Okay. So, she wasn't able to help the people because, again, even though you want to help people, you have to think about your own life as well. And you don't want to put yourself necessarily, in this case, she didn't want to, risk her own life trying to, cross through flood waters and help people. Okay. All right. I want to also talk about, one other thing, and then I'll move on. One other thing that the article did mention, is others who were interviewed said there were aftershocks. So there were aftershocks as strong as magnitude 5.2 every 10 minutes, y'all, setting off panic among the population. I imagine people were like, okay, what's going on? This just happened. Now something else is happening. So it really set off panic and fears among the people. Okay. All right. In the chat, someone mentioned food, water, power, communication. Those are definitely things that are needed. Security, communications, that's the priority. Definitely. I agree. Okay. Now, Haitian Americans. Let's talk about Haitian Americans. as you can see on the screen, Haitian Americans, it says, are making desperate calls to find out if their loved ones are safe. Okay. In the caption, it says damage caused by the earthquake on Saturday. And that is a picture there. Okay. As you can see, it looks like the entire building. It looks like the entire building is just, heavily damaged. And, it's just very devastating. Okay. All right. So someone was quoted as saying this person got news from a cousin on Saturday morning that a powerful earthquake had rocked Haiti. And then she made a panic call from her home in Miami to her husband, who had traveled to Port-au-Prince on Thursday for a visit. Goodness. All right. It says, as she dialed his number, her thoughts returned in terror to the 7.0 magnitude earthquake that devastated Haiti 11 years ago. So again, going back, people who were there and survived the earthquake in 2010, this situation, this earthquake that happened this morning, that brought them back to memories of, of being in the 2010 earthquake and surviving it. Okay, so I couldn't imagine. If I could imagine, I would think that they were pretty much, very, very shook up, very scared, because they're thinking about, oh my goodness, is this, this brings me back to what happened in 2010. Okay. Someone, the executive director of a Haitian neighborhood center in Miami, was quoted as saying, it's taking me back to visions of 2010. We're just bracing ourselves for really terrible news. She was able to contact her husband, which is wonderful, who was safe. But for some, the agony of not knowing the fate of their loved ones, the article said, continue through the day. All right. Now, members of the Haitian diaspora in the United States spoke on Saturday of making anxious calls to relatives and friends in the Caribbean nation and U.S.-based aid organizations. All right. It says we're struggling to assess the scope of the damage and to connect with their people on the ground. So remember, I shared with you all that, because of the earthquake, phone lines were down. And so it was very hard for relatives, family members, friends to communicate with each other. And, that's why a lot of people who were able to, they turned to social media. Okay. All circuits are busy. Circuits are really, really overwhelmed right now. This was a quote from an advisor of a healthcare provider in Haiti. They were quoted as saying, another person, the chief executive of Hope for Haiti, which is a U.S.-based organization that works to reduce poverty in Haiti, was quoted as saying, we are still trying to desperately get a hold of staff. All right. By Saturday afternoon, the organization had been able to account for 45 of its 60 staff members. This is what's happening, y'all. The organization had been able to account for 45 of its 60 staff members in Haiti. Of those who were reported themselves safe, many had experienced major damage to their home. As I read that, I just think about the fact that, I know for many people, a lot of people, they work hard and they have, they have their homes and they have many memories in their homes. But the main thing is, homes can be replaced, but, your life is much more precious and much more valuable. Okay. Let's see. All right. And again, people are quite naturally searching for their family members. They're very concerned. For those watching anxiously from the U.S., the political turbulence in the weeks following the loss of the Haitian president raised additional concerns about the prospect of recovery from Saturday's earthquake. Now, someone was quoted saying, all this against the backdrop of a country where gangs are running amok, a country with no functioning government, adding, and I quote, everyone's feeling this collective sense of anxiety, of frustration, of fear, and of deja vu. All right. Thank you all so much for your support. I want to continue sharing just a few more points, and we'll be finishing up soon. If anyone has a question, you can just type it in the chat, and I'll be sure to I'll try my best to answer it. Okay, if it's something that I do know that I can answer, I'll answer it. But if something, if it's something that I may not know as much about, or I may need to do some more research, I'll definitely let you know and I'll research it. Okay. I did mention social media. Social media posts from the quake damaged area of Haiti help convey the disaster's scope. Now, the article says with phone lines down, okay, this is what's happening, y'all. With phone lines down and roadways disrupted or gain control. Now, can you imagine that, y'all? Okay. Phone lines down, roadways disrupted or gain control. It says news organizations and emergency officials scrambled to try to gain access to the parts of Haiti that were damaged by a powerful earthquake on Saturday morning. Port-au-Prince, the capital, is 80 miles west from the quake's epicenter near Les Cayes and some 4.5 hours away by car. So again, not to scare you, but these are very, very real events. In this case, the article is saying that it's happening. But again, when you have, natural disasters, I'm pretty sure, or I could imagine that, everybody's in the situation together. Healthcare providers are in the same situation. Not only are they trying to help people, but, they're also worried about their own family and friends and, whether their home may have been damaged or, things of that nature. So it's like everybody is in the situation together. Everyone is affected by the situation. And, although everyone is trying to help everyone's trying to help everyone at the same time, everyone has their own families, their own needs. And so the people that you would think would be right there to help, help save lives, help restore order, in the midst of chaos and panic and fears of frustration, fears, anxiety, things, collective anxiety, these are very real events that can happen. So again, I want to read again. It says with phone lines down, roadways disrupted or gain control, news organizations and emergency officials scrambled to try to gain access to the parts of Haiti that were damaged by a powerful earthquake on Saturday morning. Now, news photographs and reports began filtering through by Saturday afternoon. But in the interim, social media, that's what I was telling y'all, a lot of those who could not get access to, using their phone line, if they, were able to have the internet in their phones or internet in their cell phone or computer. I'm not sure what electronic device they use, but social media became, the article says, a pivotal source of information about the earthquake's devastation, supplying images and video. All right. Now, one video, the article says, being picked up by multiple reporters and media outlets online shows the destruction of multiple houses. Okay. Like, for example, what you see on the screen, and buildings as people try to help those that might be caught under the rubble. All right. Let me see what my next picture is, y'all. Let me see. I'm gonna change pictures. Okay, I will be reporting on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this picture up. Okay, thank you all so much. I am on the East Coast, and so I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So it's 12:35 a.m. where I am. So no matter where you are, whether you're watching live, if you're watching live, I want to say thank you so much for staying up late with me. I wanted to come on. I'm not done yet, but I'm just stopping to take a moment to say thank you all so much for hanging in there with me. I've been on the go pretty much all day, slightly tired, but not too tired that I didn't feel like coming on to share this information about what's going on in the country of Haiti. So again, I want to say thank you all so much for staying up with me and also showing your support, whether you're watching now live or if you're watching by replay. Please say hello in the chat. Let me know that you're tuned in. And again, I want to say thank you all so much. Okay. Going back, talking about how social media posts from the quake damaged area of Haiti help convey the disaster scope. So again, people, may not be able to just pick up the phone and call their relatives and say, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? So a lot of people are having to rely on social media to get information and to get a glimpse of actually what's going on, what things look like in Haiti. Okay. All right. So again, the article says social media became a pivotal source of information about the earthquake's devastation, supplying images and videos. All right. Now, one video, as I just shared, one video being picked up by multiple reporters and media outlets online shows the destruction of multiple houses and buildings as people try to help those that might be caught under the rubble. All right. Now, the posts show people still in their pajamas or bath towels out in the street. I'm not sure exactly. I know it happened. It says Saturday morning. I don't. Based on my research, I wasn't. I couldn't find an exact time, but I do imagine if it was in the morning time, a lot of people, maybe some people hadn't woke up yet. They're still just laying in their beds asleep, and all of a sudden, they start feeling, the earthquake. So the article does say that the post shows people still in their pajamas or bath towels out in the street seeking safety after fleeing violently trembling homes. All right. As I did share, entire 3-story buildings were flattened to eye level. And one video, it says, even showed a group of men who were sifting through rubble trying to extract someone who was buried underneath. Okay. Now, again, this is not the first time that social media has filled an urgent news role in the Caribbean. Now, listen to this, y'all. Okay. One thing that I've noticed based on my research, now again, as I share with you all, if you don't already, I know a lot of times it's not necessarily a common thing amongst people to watch world news. I don't know if you do. I have, I would say over the past year, I've definitely started looking at more world news because I was wondering, okay, how are other parts of the world dealing with the pandemic and everything that's going on? So I did start tuning in to more world news to see what was going on, to see different and to learn different perspectives about what was going on and what is still going on to this day. But one thing that I realized is that one thing that I see consistently being talked about in the news today when it comes to natural disasters and severe flooding and in some parts of the world they're seeing heat waves like never before, and flooding that hasn't happened in thousands of years. That all these things are being reported, but one term that I consistently see being mentioned in the same articles where they're talking about these unusual weather patterns and unusual weather events, I'm consistently seeing the term climate change being mentioned. Okay, and I want you all to, as a matter of fact, I encourage you to do research on this. I'm actually going to be talking more about this on the channel. Climate change, not to get off topic, but speaking of climate change, there is a group of, there's a group of people who, they are, they're coming out and they're really, seems to be at the forefront of talks about climate change. And this isn't something that just started happening this year in 2021. Based on my research and what I found out, a lot of what has been said, concerning things that we see happening right now, these things, when you go back, these things were talked about at least 10 years ago, or more, longer than that. And so, it's very concerning. A lot of people say, well, you know what? Climate change, is bound to happen. It's just a part of, the natural order of things, and the science. But then there are some people that are saying, some people may claim that, a lot of these things have been planned out. It's all by design. So that's a topic that I'm still doing research on. As a matter of fact, a couple of, just maybe a few months back, I went out and I purchased Bill Gates. You all know Bill Gates, who started the company Microsoft. He actually wrote a book about climate change. And so, as I go back and I've looked at some of his videos on YouTube, he talked about climate change and concerns about climate change. He talked about that 10 years ago. And some of the things that he said then that's happening now. So, I have a lot of questions about that, but I'm definitely going to be reporting on that in a different video. So again, if you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way, when I do report the information, you'll be able to see it uploaded, okay? And tune in and learn and share that information with your family members or friends. So again, one thing as I report, as I do research on natural disasters, unusual weather patterns, things that are happening all across the world, even here in the United States, I'm consistently seeing one phrase, one term that I'm consistently seeing that's being reported along with these different events is climate change. So, it seems like, this group of people that have come together and said, hey, you know what, they're alleging that, the planet Earth is in trouble, and it's all due to climate change and the effects and things that humans are putting out into the atmosphere. One thing that I'm seeing them mention is climate change. So the article says that climate change, listen to this, y'all, climate change has caused stronger storms and hurricanes that hit the area more with more force. I'm sorry, climate change has caused stronger storms and hurricanes that hit the area with more force, and suffering and paralyzing hits to infrastructure often hit social media first. So I encourage you all to do your research on climate change. Again, I'm still in the process of doing my research, putting some information together. But I encourage you all to research climate change, see the things that are being talked about. And it seems like every time an event happens, whether it's a natural disaster, some state of emergency event, it seems like they always want to mention climate change. Okay, they always want to mention climate change. So please pay attention to that. Okay. Social media platforms also have sometimes served as a communications network where families could connect with loved ones when phone lines went down, like what I have reported is happening in Haiti, and learn about relief efforts. Okay, according to reporting from the Pulitzer Center. All right. Now I want to talk about the United States and the UN promise to send aid to Haiti. That is, yes, so I do want to talk about that next. Now, hours after the earthquake hit Haiti, the Biden administration, the United Nations, and private relief agencies that operate in Haiti promised urgent help. All right, now President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris received a briefing on Saturday morning about the Haiti earthquake while they were at a meeting discussing Afghanistan. Okay, this is according to the article. And according to the White House. Now, the president authorized an immediate response, the Associated Press reported, and named the U.S. Aid Administrator, Samantha Power, as the senior official coordinating the effort. So remember, I reported early on in the video that the government allegedly was not able to support its own people. So it seems like, or it appears that they're having to rely on governments in other countries to help them get the aid and relief that they need. All right. But now Ms. Power said in a Twitter post that U.S. aid was, and I quote, moving urgently to respond, and the experts were on the ground assessing damage and needs. Now, in a tweet, the United Nations Secretary General said that the UN is, and I quote, is working to support rescue and relief efforts. There was no outline of what the responses might look like as damage on the ground continues to be evaluated and the death toll continues to rise. All right. There's also another quote saying, while it will take days to assess the full scale of the damage, it is clear that this is a massive humanitarian emergency. All right. Now, and it says we must respond quickly and decisively. All right. UNICEF, which is a branch of the United Nations, said in a statement that it was working with government and non-government organizations to evaluate what was needed. The agency said it has offices in the south of Haiti, and staff on the ground were making assessments in order to prioritize urgent needs and provide assistance to affected populations. Much of assistance right now seems to be medical. All right. So the article, according to the article, the main form of assistance that they need is medical. Again, remember I reported early on that the hospitals, it was said that the hospitals are underfunded. Excuse me, I had to get some more lemonade. It was reported that the hospitals were underfunded, and they also reported that some of the doctors, had already gone out of town that Friday, so they weren't. According to the article, it doesn't seem like there were many medical professionals left in the area after the hurricane happened. So right now, they're saying that much of the assistance right now seems to be more of a need for medical assistance. All right, nonprofit organizations like Community Organized Relief Effort, or CORE, CORE, which was founded by Sean Penn in 2010. Going back to 2010, y'all, when the hurricane happened. So there was an organization called CORE, which was founded by Sean Penn in 2010 after another earthquake hit Haiti, are also on the ground. Okay, CORE, CORE, deployed 2 teams Saturday, one of which is a mobile medical team, according to a statement from the organization. So it looks like at least one group, CORE, they have been able to, act and move pretty quickly to help the people of Haiti to get them what they need. Now, but the article says, getting aid to those who need it in Haiti isn't easy. Okay, an influx of foreign aid and peacekeeping forces after the 2010, going back to 2010, y'all, earthquake appeared to only worsen the country's woes, okay, and instability. The international community has pumped $13 billion of aid into the country over the last decade. Okay, so think about that number, y'all. Again, going back, it was said in the article, I shared with you all that the article says that the government allegedly is not able to support its own people. And there has been a global collective effort, the article is saying. The international community has pumped $13 billion of aid into the country over the last decade, over the last 10 years. And instead of the nation building the money was supposed to achieve, Haiti's institutions, it says, have further hollowed out in recent years. Now, why do you think that's the case? Help me make sense of this. Okay, so going back to 2010, when there was a devastating earthquake, these are real concerns, y'all. I know we're not in, I'm not in Haiti. I don't know where you're located, but these are some, very real concerns. After the 2010, devastating earthquake that shook Haiti, it was reported that over, the next 10 years after 2010, even leading up to this current year, or 2020, if you want to say 10 years after 2010, there has been 13 billion, okay, 13 billion, BILLION, $13 billion, from a collective international community putting this money towards helping Haiti. But, the country prior to this earthquake, the country was dealing with severe poverty. Now, okay, so this is what I'm really saying, y'all. How is it that, and I don't know how much things cost, but $13 billion is a lot of money. So how does a country receive $13 billion over 10 years? And prior to this hurricane happening, it's been said that the country was, dealing with severe poverty and things like that. How is it still happening 10 years later when $13 billion was given to help rebuild the country? And that's where many people will argue, hey, it must have been by design. Is it that they want to keep the people in poverty, keep people depending on the government? That's something that we can even think about here, in the United States. Okay. But it does say, again, while it will take days to assess the full scale of the damage, it is clear that this is a massive humanitarian emergency, and we must respond quickly and decisively. Okay, that was a quote from the Save the Children Haiti's country director. All right. All right. Again, getting aid to those who need it in Haiti isn't easy. The article says an influx of foreign aid and peacekeeping forces after the 2010 earthquake appears to only worsen the country's woes and instability. Do y'all understand that? They were given $13 billion after the 2010 earthquake. I'm not trying to criticize, but I'm just thinking, like, you would think that if all of this money was given, you would think that, they would be in a much better place. But, maybe there are some other factors that are not being mentioned in this article that I don't know about that contributed to the fact that they are still, in an impoverished state that the article is claiming. Okay. Let's see. The aid has propped up the country and its leaders, providing vital services and supplies in a country that has desperately needed vast amounts of humanitarian assistance, but it has also left the government with few incentives to carry out the institutional reforms necessary to rebuild the country, allowing corruption, violence, and political paralysis to go unchecked. Okay, so again, that kind of gives us an idea of what has been going on in Haiti. Okay, let me see if I have another picture to put up there. All right, here is a picture of a home that was damaged by an earthquake in Les Cayes on Saturday. All right, and I think that is my last picture. Okay, so the last part of the article, thank you all so much for saying it with me and tuning in. I really appreciate you all. The last part of the article shares that the Haiti quake prompted tsunami warnings that were later taken back. After a powerful earthquake hit Haiti early Saturday morning, the U.S. Tsunami Warning Center initially reported a tsunami threat and warned of waves between 3 to 10 feet high. All right, now that threat was later rescinded, and a video circulating on social media shows residents fleeing a flooded street, splashing through murky and knee-deep water. But it wasn't clear what caused the flooding. Now, now listen to this, y'all. Earthquakes with a magnitude between 6.5 and 7.5 generally do not produce deadly tsunamis, but they can cause a small sea change level, close to a quake's epicenter, according to the United States Geological Survey. All right, so again, y'all, these are things that have happened in the country of Haiti. The earthquake that since it's after 12, since it's actually Sunday where I am, so now I'll say that this happened yesterday, Saturday morning in Haiti. Again, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Haiti, the people of the country of the Haiti who are already dealing with very difficult, very challenging situations prior to this earthquake that happened. And from my understanding, based on my research, it does seem like there is additional aid. Remember, they got $13 billion in the 10 years following the 2010 earthquake. And so, hopefully with everything going on, the relief that, has already been sent to the area, as well as relief that is to come, hopefully, again, there may be other factors, again, that I don't know about. I haven't researched yet. I'm not aware of. But hopefully this time around, this unexpected, unfortunate event, the aid that is the aid that has already been received and that is on the way, I hope that the people are able to get the help that they need to, not only restore it, but also improve their living conditions. Okay. But you all, let me know in your thoughts. Let me know what you think about as far as everything that's going on in the country of Haiti. I would like to know your thoughts on some of the things that I shared about the government not being able to help its own people, having to, rely on outside assistance, although they received a total of $13 billion over 10 years. I would like to question, where did that money go? Did it actually go to help the people? If so, why so many people, as the article is saying, why were so many people even prior to this recent earthquake on Saturday morning, October 14th? Not October, I'm sorry, y'all. Why were so many people prior to this earthquake that occurred on Saturday morning, August 14th? Why were so many people living in severe poverty? So those are some questions that I have. Also, again, my prayers, my thoughts go out to the people of the country of Haiti, the surrounding areas who were affected, those who have family members, friends, and loved ones in the country of Haiti. And, again, not to scare those of us who are not in Haiti, but this is a very real event. We see this as something that occurred, is being reported, and we don't know if this can happen in any of our areas, but we want to be prepared in multiple ways of our lives, and that's something that I've spoke about on our channel, on the channel here, Andrea Speaks TV. And it's something that you can also discuss with your family, and you can make a specific plan, emergency plan, should things, I know an earthquake could be considered an extreme case, because like I said, there's patterns, there's documented history of certain, not hurricanes, earthquakes happening only, pretty much in certain areas, but I don't know, maybe it could happen anywhere. But we want to make sure that we're prepared, that we have our emergency food, whether we're and please make sure you check the description of this video. I do have a website, preparewithandrea.com, where you can go and get emergency food and supplies, so please check that out. But we want to make sure that pretty much all around, that we're protected, and that we have the things that we need if there is ever an emergency. And so especially the days and times that we're living in, I definitely think that it is a very wise idea to make sure that you and your family are protected as well as prepared. So make sure you check out the links in the description box of this video to get the things that you need. Also, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe here on AndreaSpeaksTV.com. Please make sure you share the video with family members or friends. Give me the thumbs up button if you felt that the information was very helpful. And please take care of yourselves. Please take care of your family. So again, this has been Andrea Speaks TV. I want to thank you all so much for staying up late with me. Again, I've been on the go all day, just a little bit tired, but I thought it was very important that I come on. And, because I saw many people saying, pray for Haiti. And I was like, wait a minute, what happened in Haiti? So I did some research, put the information, gave you some visuals to, so, we can all actually see what's going on. And again, I encourage you all to look at the news, look at world news. And now I say that with caution, because it's not a good thing to just constantly look at the news, because it can make you, at times it can make you fearful and panic. But just like I shared with you all, the reason why I started my channel is because I said, it's so much news being pushed and thrown at us. You all can see that now. Every day it seems like there's something else, something different happening every day. But what you want to do is to say, hey, okay, let me sit down, let me research, let me find out what's going on, what's really going on, and let me see what is the information that I need to know to help myself, help yourself, you and your family. So that's what my channel is all about. So again, I want to thank you all so much for your support, for sharing the video, liking the video, and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I'm going to go now, because I need to be going to sleep. I should already be asleep, but again, I want to share with you what, the things that were happening in Haiti. Again, my thoughts, prayers go out to the country of Haiti, the people of Haiti. And I pray that you all be well, that things be restored. And, again, homes, buildings, those are things that can be replaced. Yes, you make memories in places like that. But the most important thing is that you have your life, you have your family, you have your loved ones. So again, thoughts and prayers go out to the people, the country of Haiti. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, make sure that you're prepared and have the things that you need on a daily basis, especially, if something were to happen. We don't know, natural disasters, things like that. So again, thank you all so much for your support. Take care. And I'll be back soon with another live video, bringing you all commentary you can use. Thank you all so much. This is Andrea Speaks TV. Good night, y'all.